welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. From you see the face and hear the voice, you know it's Javon, and I'm back with another one-on-one with Javon. Today we got a pioneer in the video editing thing. We got someone that represents the club for Chelsea, someone that presumably meets all the players. You gotta introduce me to some of the players. One of my friends, one of my favorite content creators and streamers out there. He beat me in FIFA 1. People, we got Feroze. We got Feroze.
Oh, love that intro. Appreciate it, Joanne. Appreciate you. Appreciate this. Thanks for having me, bro. Really excited for this, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, bro. We keep missing each other. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. Life is good. You know, Chelsea is doing good as well. So slow and steady. Hopefully, positive things ahead.
Most definitely. All right, let's get into it. You know what the first question is going to be? Why Chelsea? How did you start supporting Chelsea? Tell us your story.
Ooh, okay. So back in, I'd say, late 90s, super early 2000, like 2001-ish, I started getting into FIFA as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching football. And there was this Italian magician known as Zola. Literally love at first sight for me, and I'm like, wow, what's going on here? Then I got to know more about him, got to know more about English football, and then I just started following Chelsea slowly from then. Of course, started playing FIFA a lot, which made me familiar with a lot of the players, and then after that, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So, much like Baba, I think, much like Baba, FIFA did it for you.
Yes,
FIFA did it for you.
Yes.
What was the first? What was that? What was the first iteration of FIFA? What was that iteration of FIFA?
No, I think the first FIFA I played was Welcome '98. I feel so old. Yes. Welcome '98.
Pixelated box looking men.
Yes. Those were the days. Those are the days where we appreciated every single thing. Nowadays, everything we complain about, like all the games and stuff. But I got into football because of R9, Ronaldo. And then I got into Chelsea because of Zola. It was always between Zola and Ronaldo. And then, luckily, thankfully, I saw the blue light. And, that was good. That was the best decision ever.
Okay, so you reeled off some names such as Zola and R9. That means I can kind of guess the type of football you like.
Yes.
But for, much like I asked Robert in the last episode, give us an example of your type of football and the football that you like.
See, I love when players just love to entertain, right? I get it, results and stuff are important, but just the wow factor, the X factor. I mean, now it's just a bit of extremes. Either players are super conservative, they don't want to take out the man, and at the same time, we have extreme cases where players only care about magic and not the end result. I feel like both sides are important, which is why, like R9, for instance, he had that X factor, that wow factor. Similar to Ronaldinho as well. But they got the end job done, which is score a goal or assist and stuff. So you need a bit of both. So for me, in terms of just like entertaining magic on the pitch is beautiful, bro. Whether it's a skill or, just an insane volley. It's just, those are things you love to see rather than
I appreciate
tiki-taka too. But now it's so oversaturated. Every single team is trying to play like that. It's like, come on,
Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree with that point. That point with the oversaturated tiki-taka, I think it's overdone just in general. Like, there's the way they have the game set up now, it mitigates and it restricts players from saying, no, screw it, I'm just going to take a shot from here and whatever happens, happens.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see much of that anymore. Okay, cool. So you are a post-Roman baby, I guess. You're like me, post-Roman baby. What was it like growing up and seeing Chelsea dominate?
I'd say I was actually lucky because I started supporting like 2-3 years like before the whole Roman era started like popping off. Yeah.
Okay, so you had
Roman took over in I'd say I think 04-ish, 04-ish. And those 3 years for me, because my brother used to support Manchester United, still does support United, right? And it was just like, obviously, just a lot of trash talking from him, going like, oh, just you're like a top 4 club. Because Chelsea was like around the top 4-ish, top 5 area.
Mm.
I hate to compare us with Spurs, but we were
Mm.
more successful than Spurs, but we were just
A
similar to
rotating
them.
top four club. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So that's why, like, I got very lucky in terms of like starting supporting the club right before Roman came about, which obviously it's all about timing and all. But it was great to see the progress, and that's why I appreciate every single thing.
We got another one, boys. We
Yes.
got another one. That free Roman.
Yes. I appreciate every single thing right now because it just takes me back to those days. I'm not gonna say dark days, but like those days where we weren't competing for
Mm.
like silverware every single season, right? And now
Mhm.
hopefully sooner rather than later we're gonna go back into that rhythm. I feel.
Yeah, most definitely. 'Cause the
Mhm.
trajectory of the club right now, it's looking up. I know it's early days, but I genuinely think we found a manager that could potentially get us back to those heights. Now, since that you're a pre-Roman, I want to get the understanding of what it was like during the Roman when Roman burst onto the scene for Chelsea and when he
Yep.
just took over. What was the atmosphere like?
Oh, it felt like a dream, honestly. Because it wasn't a common thing for a billionaire to take over a club and instantly start like demanding success right from the get go, right?
Mm.
That I mean, later on, obviously we saw it with City, and then Newcastle had like a whole ownership, like like it became a big thing. But not, back then, it was like the only thing. I feel
Mm.
like that makes the most sense, and for me, as I said, just the fact that like it almost felt like a video game because he came over and then Ranieri was still the manager, so he wasn't like that like cutthroat in terms of like, hey, I am gonna get Mourinho instantly. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna be loyal to the players and the managers that like have been there and maybe
Mm.
transition in a year, which is why Lampard was still like given a shot, and
Mm.
thankfully he was because he proved
Mm.
himself like to be one of the best players in the world, right?
Mm.
And then same thing in terms of like certain players just being there, and then that switch eventually happened, but still there were signs of that turning point because we started like we got Jeremy, we got like a bunch of other players as well that were like playing for the big clubs. They were still
Mm.
playing for the big clubs, but at the same time, it's like our manager wasn't world class, but we just had
Mm.
to be loyal. So like steps had to be made, right? I think we
Mm.
finished second, and then Mourinho obviously came over, and then you know
Mm.
we
Versus
got the job
history.
done.
I mean, we're kind of going on a timeline here. When Mourinho walked through the door, what was it
Oof.
like? Well,
Ooh, see, for
from
me,
your perspective.
from my perspective, it was surreal because, as I said earlier, my brother used to be a United fan, and he basically Porto knocked them out right in the Champions
Mm-hmm.
League before. So I was like, oh, we got the guy who actually like just won the Champions League, and still I wasn't too familiar with him until that press conference. Oh my god. When he just
Mm-hmm.
came in the scene and is like, I think I'm the special one. And everyone, right? Everyone, the players and the fans, all of us were like, what's this guy on? But then again, he won the Champions League. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have achieved success, rightly so. And then of course he just got the demand in and like, hey, you know what? We are forget Arsenal, forget Liverpool United. We are gonna be the kings of England right now. And oh boy, I mean, hey, Invincibles and stuff. People talk about them, but Chelsea were one game away from being the Invincibles, right? City, we
Yeah,
lost
yeah,
to City, but other than that, we were, in my opinion, miles ahead. That football, that was a
yeah.
mix of, I feel like, beautiful football and at the same time being solid at the back, and that's the biggest misunderstanding in terms of like a lot of opposing fans. They go like, oh, Chelsea, Mourinho back then they were just boring and like defensive. No, no, no. We were good when we needed to be at the back, but up
Mm-hmm.
front with Robin, Drogba, Duff and Robin interchanging. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god! And then Gudjon, like everyone just contributing, and then us actually like achieving what we did. It was unreal. But I still am slightly upset that we didn't win the Champions League back then
We
because
should have won the
yes,
Champions League
yes,
under
yes.
Mourinho,
But
bro.
for the Champions League, you need a lot of luck. I mean, we
Yeah,
know
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
A lot of luck goes on your life because it's at the end of the day, while it's a big trophy, it's still a cup competition. So you
Mm-hmm.
need that cup luck. I don't want to.
Yes.
It's not. And when I say cup luck, I don't necessarily mean favorable draws. I
Mm-hmm.
just mean that cup luck. You need your team needs to show up and show up on the day. So that's just the fact. Can you imagine if Mourinho won a UCL with
Oh,
Chelsea? want
Oof.
everything there is to. I think that's the only mark against him, but we don't even pay that any mind as much. Now, um, I got introduced to you unknowingly,
Hmm.
from the All Against All Odds video,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So going into that, let before that video was made, for those who don't know, I'm gonna let him tell the story. So, but first, I have so much questions to ask. But let me start here. How
Yeah.
did content creation of that time? Because it's not the content creation where we're now here talking, having
Yes.
the podcast and
Of
whatever. It was
course.
a different time, and you were
Hmm.
the first. It's safe to say you were the first person to do it, not only
Yep.
for Chelsea, but on a that big of a level. So,
Hmm.
give us an example. Give us a walkthrough of what was going on that time
Wow.
in Feroze's
Well,
life.
I love this question. So I'd say back in 2010 when Chelsea won the double, the FA Cup in the Premier League. That was a beautiful time. And there was
Sauce on the gravy.
there was no one in terms of like content creation. I'd say besides my guy Eunice was actually making videos, like actually physically talking and stuff. And then they had Chelsea fans channel. But in terms of video creation, there was no one there. Maybe a guy called Giveruk. I think the OGs remember, like a Chelsea fan who used to just edit in terms of like fancy edits, like you see these days on TikTok, right? Nothing that's like touching the heart. That's like warm, right? And
Nothing that's
I
pulling at the heartstrings.
exactly, and I feel like I used to love editing from like 2006 2007. And I used to post, I'd say like back then when Facebook and social media wasn't a thing, right? I used to post it on like the forums, like
Mm,
CFC Net, Talk Chelsea, Big Saw, and all these like places I used to just post like just randomly like a few like minutes here or there, but nothing seriously. But around 2010, when we won the double, I'm like, you know what? I wish there was a way because I feel like the art of editing and giving respect in terms of like letting people 30 seconds or 3 4 minutes of your time is it's so valuable, and you gotta make sure what they're watching is special. All right. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's just it makes no sense in terms of just wasting their time. Which is why I feel like I had to put everything in those like 2 3 minutes. It was called when May 9 sees a blue paradise in England. That was a video when we beat Wigan, and it was like a Coldplay mini like video, and I just did it with like flashy things in terms of like the texture of the players, but the storyline was just like a Coldplay song.
mm,
Beautiful. I think we won like 7-0 or 8-0 against Wigan,
mm,
and that just blew up on Facebook. It just
mm,
took off for like in terms of like the Chelsea fans. And then slowly people are like, wait, what? Like, can you do more of this? Like, So then when we won the FA Cup, I made that video, and then after that, what I started doing was making player montages. So I did like
mm,
some stuff on Drogba, did some stuff on like Maluda, did stuff on like the current players like Balak with Balaklev, Joe Cole, and then so on and so forth. I just started doing player montages, and that's when I sort of realized, hey, you know what? The players appreciate it because players will post it on the social media,
mm,
and then slowly, obviously, like reaching out to like Chelsea, the staff of like Chelsea TV started doing reels for them. I'm like, maybe I can take this seriously. This is going to be a fun thing.
mm,
And then of course, Drogba, Lamps, JT, Ashley Cole, Big Pete, they all did their thing to help me make like the best documentary possible. Like people go like, "Oh, I did a good job." I go like, I probably did like 1% of like what they did because I just connected the dots of how
mm,
every Chelsea fan was feeling when that
mm,
journey happened and what the players did. And I
mm,
just put it all together, right? I feel like the world deserved to understand what Chelsea fans went through because Against All Odds isn't just for Chelsea fans, it's for fans around the world to understand the emotions for Chelsea fans, like the
mm,
story, because everything connected from Drogba being sent off, who was supposed to take the penalty in 2008, to being the
mm,
hero, and then JT
mm,
not being there, but then it just like everything just made sense.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was rewatching that video the other day and I almost cried bad. Like that tug at the heartstrings, bro. But what made you decide that this is the version of content creation I'm going to go down? Yes, you saw the because at that time you said there was the emergence of Eunice and a few other people. but they were just giving their thoughts. You decided to make a mini movie to
Yep.
some extent.
Yeah. Um, I as I said earlier, I just loved video editing, right? And I just obviously love Chelsea, so I just combined the two and just it went from there. And of course, as you mentioned, right, like being on camera and stuff. Like I mean, I love being on camera as well. But back then, it wasn't like a common thing, and just it was a thing that no one was doing, and I felt like it's not something that it was my hobby and stuff. That's not just the only reason. I felt like Chelsea needed someone like me to make videos because other clubs had their people representing in terms of like editing style and stuff. Now, thankfully, there hasn't been an well, never mind. I was gonna say there hasn't been an English club in terms of like a storyline like Chelsea. Liverpool's 3-0 comeback was unreal, of course, but their overall journey wasn't like Chelsea's in terms of like that season, right? That
Yeah.
season was
Mhm.
unreal. Of course, in hindsight now, looking back at the last 3-4 seasons in the Champions League, not Chelsea related, but like Real Madrid and all these guys have done crazy comebacks, right? So I
Mhm.
get it. Like the Champions League comebacks are special, which is why you and I definitely miss it. However, I feel like at that time, there was no one representing like this sort of like medium. And I
Mhm.
just felt like that space was there. I was pretty decent at it. The feedback was unreal. Social media was a
Mhm.
new thing, which is why my Twitter just erupted, and it just slowly like went from there, and it just took it to another level. But against all odds happened, and just literally took it to another
Mhm.
level. Because I remember, even though like the players used to retweet here and there, I wasn't like close with them, but thankfully, big shout out to Alison Bender because
Mhm.
she, without my knowledge, loved the
Mhm.
video so much. She's like, Feroze, I've emailed this to JT and Lampard. Hopefully, like, you don't mind this. I'm like, why would I mind this? And like 2 days later, she's like,
What?
oh,
Why would I mind
two,
this?
two, 2 days later, she's like, they loved it, right? And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like, it felt surreal. And then Lampard went on Chelsea TV. He's like, oh, nowadays I'm watching all these like documentaries being made like on us winning the Champions League. It's so special. And I was like, it's talking about me. No
Mhm.
one believed it back then. No one. But I just loved in terms of like the positive messages that I was receiving for creating this like masterpiece. And I got really lucky because not a lot of people know this, Javon, but
Mhm.
I was very close to not releasing it because my laptop
Mhm.
kept crashing, and I didn't have a backup.
Oh,
So
oh, wow.
yes,
So, thank
yes,
God you put it out there, bro.
yes,
Because creating what you did, right?
Mhm,
I want to say that video is the staple in this fan is a staple in this fan base. If you
mhm,
haven't seen it, go and check it out. I'll try to find some remnants of the video and put it in the description. Um, when people are discussing that Champions League run, it's a very easy video to pull up because it describes everything, every single thing we went through, and it described the emotions prior to that run, all the frustrations in the past build up to that one moment, that final, that penalty. It was amazing. No, that video kind of launched your career. Can you tell me where it kind of went to after that? Because I know some of it, but I want
of
these
course,
people to hear it from you.
of course, of course. I I mean after that, in terms of like all these like big companies in terms of like the media, they were just like, oh, you should produce this, produce that. And then thankfully, the following year for the Champions League final for MasterCard, like the official UEFA, they reached
Mastercard
out
of people.
they reached out to me in terms of like, hey, make this like 3 minute montage for MasterCard for the Champions League final. And I was like, oh my god, like what is going on? I have
Hold
like
on,
I
hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm coming.
yes.
You gotta describe this feeling, bro, because this is what
Oh,
people that make content
Jawan,
wanna
Jawan,
want.
for me, it was still like very new because I had back then imposter syndrome, right?
Mm,
Basically, I was just put into this, and I'm experiencing all these cool things on social media, not in terms of like real life yet, because back then still people just knew me by my name and not by my face,
mm,
right? And that was a really interesting transition as well because now it's common to be on camera. Back then it wasn't, right? So
mm.
that transition also took a while because when I first put my face, people were like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But getting back into that feeling, it was insane because because you know what, I kid you not, when UEFA sent me the files, right, to edit, right, like all
Mm,
the 4K videos and
mm.
everything, bro, the Champions League song, the official song they sent me was, I think, I would say probably 600 MB. Bro, bro,
Yeah, but then that's
I
a
still
lot.
have, I still have it. I still have it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the most clear, like, cause it's the official file for the
yeah.
Champions
Yeah,
League,
it's
right?
not something you pull
Yes.
off of
So
YouTube.
I have that. I have that on my computer, and every time like there's a big Chelsea Champions, I mean, it's been a while, but like every time there's a game,
Yeah.
and I listen to that, I'm like, oh my! So when I heard it for the first time, I'm like, wait, 600. I mean, it's an audio file. I play it. I'm like, no way. This. I was like, okay, so
Official.
I have I've given the opportunity to edit this, and then of course, like I did my thing, but at the same time, Jawan, it's sort of frustrating because in an ideal world, you just get to edit post, but in this world, right, in the other side of the coin, you just gotta
Shut up,
edit,
Miss.
and then you send it to them. They go like, "Hey, we need." I'll give you the best example, all right?
Mhm.
So I edit this perfectly, right? Everything is nice. I have all the clips as I want it to be. I send it to them. They go like, "Feroze, we love it," but we have this one problem. I'm like, what? They're like, you showed the entire crowd, but if you zoom into the crowd, one person is holding an iPhone, and our sponsors are Samsung. So you got to remove it. I was like, bro, just because one person is
Who's the
holding the
hole in the
iPhone.
iPhone? Blur
Yes,
it out. Blur it
so
out.
that's why I was like, okay, so it go, but I get the attention to detail. But then again, as a storyteller, it frustrates me when I don't have full access and rights, which is why the past like few years that there've been so many projects like I've turned down where I wouldn't have ever. But I feel like creative freedom for any artist or any content creator is the most important thing, and that's something that should never ever go away. Because if it goes away, then who are we as creators, right?
Mhm. Yeah, who are you? You guys are. Damn, bro. I
No, no,
can
no.
only imagine when MasterCard hit the email. I'm like, what? Bro, I keep telling people if it was
Yes,
me, I'll be on a wow. I'll be like,
I
ah, look
know.
at this. Look at this. I'm official. Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah, bro. So, um, I know it's late, but congratulations.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Where did this take you at that point?
See,
At that point,
yeah,
when you solidified, okay, I'm doing club official things, I'm
yeah, yeah,
doing
yeah.
league official things.
Yeah.
What was going through your head at the time
Yeah,
as to the next
as I
step?
said, honestly, lots of imposter syndrome because during a lot of these offers and stuff that I was getting from people, I didn't know if I should go like, oh my god, like I get to do this, or I gotta be the okay, cool, and played really, really cool, right? And just sort of like negotiate or whatever. So that's still it's a very tricky situation because obviously you need to figure out as to like what you need to like say, right? And then unfortunately in terms of like my personal creations, it became tricky because back then, all right, the players liked me, the Chelsea TV staff, most of them liked me, the club did not like me, all right, back then, because Joanne, back then there were a lot of old heads in terms of like their thinking
Mhm.
was very like old school, not about content creation
Mhm.
and all that, right? And thankfully, the last like 6 7 years that's changed. I mean, I'm cool with
It had to.
everyone.
It had to
Yeah,
change with the
yes,
times.
of course. So that's something I feel like the club messed up on, not just in terms of me, but in terms of a lot of people. Like they
Mhm.
just ruined relationships. And then because of this and because of my editing, right? My channel has been on 20,000 subscribers for the last, like, I'd say 10 years. In terms of
Mhm.
my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
My YouTube is pretty much like just a history of like just videos from like the past,
Mhm.
right? And the reason being is because Chelsea at one point, they got really upset in terms of like my videos were getting a lot of view. Like, bro, there used to be one point I supposed a video 200K views in like 2 days. That's how that was the standard of like my channel. And not a
Mhm.
lot of people know this. I had two channels. One got totally taken down.
Mhm.
So the biggest challenge I had was with copyright. And you know what? Now being on that side of like the official thing and understanding how copyright works with what footage you can use, I totally get it, right? I totally, because from that perspective, it's like, hey, this guy's just editing, putting music, using footage that he doesn't own. right? Or he doesn't have the rights to, and he's just like posting it. It's a good video, but you gotta be careful with that, right?
Mhm.
So I understand that, which is why a lot of videos got taken down. I wasn't allowed to post anything, and the club was targeting my channel to be taken down. So that's something I had to struggle with, which is why this is a perfect transition. Which is why what ended up happening is I was like, how do I make content that I own, right? The thing for me was in terms of like actually being involved in this whole thing and not being able to actually make my content was frustrating, which is why I was just thinking, what's the best way to like sort this problem and fix this? I'm like, hold on, I got the best solution. How about I get into animations, right?
Mhm.
Because this way I will have control of the footage, right?
Mhm.
But how the hell do I do this? And yo, back then, animations weren't a common thing. All
I
right,
know. Mhm.
which is why with my laptop that I told you about that
Mm.
struggled to
Struggle.
render a file. I'm like, you know what I should do? I should do hand drawn dot animations, right? And with the mouse cursor, bro, with an actual mouse cursor, I spent like 2 months. I spent 2 months like trying to draw the Drogba goal against Bayern. And bro, that was the most boring thing I've ever done in my life because there were like I'd say like 700-800 like images that I had to draw with a broken laptop, right? People don't
That's
understand the struggle
tedious,
of this, bro.
bro.
People,
That's tedious.
yeah, people do not understand the struggle of this. And you know what? Like to this day, I still have the laptop. It's like all smashed, like the buttons are missing.
Yeah.
And I just posted it on YouTube. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens. And then Bleacher Report posted it.
Mm.
All right. After Bleacher Report posted it, I was like, okay, cool. This the BR back then wasn't like a big deal. All
I
right.
know. BR back then is
Yeah.
not BR now.
It was like whatever. So I go to sleep, wake up, and then out of nowhere, Drogba. Didier Drogba retweeted you. I was like, okay, cool. Didier Drogba. Love this, bro. And then Didier Drogba followed you on Twitter. Didier Drogba followed you on Instagram. I'm like, whoa.
What?
And
What?
then
What? We're bubbling.
Go on. Jump on.
We're bubbling.
Back then, players never followed like
Any? I know
track.
because it was a the
Yes,
the level of
yes,
I'm a player. I'm a professional player.
yes,
And you are just a regular human being was
yes,
this. Social media today has closed that gap
yes,
where you can reach out to any. But back then,
yes.
bro, so
It was,
I get it.
and
Mhm.
Jawan, the beauty of Instagram back then, for people that don't know, if someone follows or a celebrity or anyone is doing anything, it ends up on the activity page, so everyone can see. So everyone saw Drogba is following Feroze, and then Drogba posted my video on Instagram too. It's still there, right? And I was like, oh my god! And then boom, and then I just started getting followers everywhere. And then of course, after that, like just a lot of companies reached out for like animations and stuff. And then I did something for Bayern Munich.
Oh,
Yes.
you don't say. Well, we're listening.
Okay,
We're listening.
before Bayern, right before Bayern. This is one of the most strange decisions I had to make because there's a company, right? There is a media company that I don't want to name, right? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a media company right before Bayern Munich. They approached me and wanted me to do things for them, like animations. But this company, a lot of players hate, a lot of teams hate because they clickbait. They are. I'll give you the biggest hint. The color is red, and it sounds similar to the moon. Okay. Yeah. So that's that company reached out. They're like, hey, like you want to do this? I'm like, should I do it? It's like any publicity is good publicity. Should I just, you know what? I did it, and the backlash was like, the like OGs congratulated me, but the backlash was like, but I didn't promote it that much. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you were
just
like,
did
I
it.
just did this because I needed the money.
And I just wanted eyes on me, right? I did it, and then after that, I think a week later, Bayern Munich just reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, you want to like do this preview for the Arsenal game?" I'm like, you know what? Down, right? And then that was at that time, as I told you, people to collaborate with clubs, especially the quality of Bayern Munich, and a lot of people got upset at Chelsea because Bayern were the ones who reached out to me, a Chelsea fan, rather than like me doing something with Chelsea, right? Which is like the funniest and craziest thing, and everyone was like, "Wow, like look at that, like that's the funniest thing." But that was for doing that with Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich posted it on the official page, right, and tweeted it. They're like, "Oh, look at this Feroze, like did this, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, like holy shit,
bro!"
So that was a
all
cool
of this, all of this started from FIFA.
Yes,
so if you don't believe me, FIFA gives you gifts.
yes.
Bro, like it's crazy. It's crazy hearing your story because all of this started from something you love. I know I just made a joke about it, but you just like editing videos. You fell in love with the club Chelsea, and then you're doing all of these things. Wow. So my favorite part, the list of players you have on your roster who you've met. Who's your favorite? Let me not get controversial. But who was the first person you met, like in person?
Are you talking about first? This is tricky. Are you talking about as a first player I met as myself as like a creator, or of the first player I met as a Chelsea fan? Who are you talking about? Both. First player I met as a Chelsea fan was Fernando Torres. Right after the goal.
Don't tell me it's after that UCL goal.
Right after that UCL goal. Right after the I'd say like a month after the UCL goal. Yep. Met Fernando Torres. And yeah, I talked to him I was at Dubai airport. I talked to him for like 5 minutes, him and his family. Really, really nice. And the one thing I regret about that conversation is I had a Chelsea shirt with me. I had the Drogba Champions League final, not actually Drogba's, but I got the embroidered Drogba Champions League final shirt that I wanted to sign from Drogba. But by the time I got that shirt in while talking to Torres, he just signed it. And I was like, that was not for you! But you know what?
bro.
You know what? I appreciate Brando. Like, I loved him. I felt like he was unlucky, but that was the first Chelsea player, or should I say that was probably the first footballer I met ever, right? And back then, Torres was still hot property because people were like, oh, they're 50 million goal, blah, blah, blah. I remember I posted on Facebook, and that was like, whoa, like, what the hell, like, you met Torres? But I just met him as a supporter, right? Like, he had no idea who I am and stuff. But the first player that I met as a content creator, I'd say, like, it was Lampard, and then right after Lampard, it was Drogba, like 1 week later. Yeah.
Based on what you've told us so far, it's clear to see that Drogba and Lamps are your two favorites.
No, surprisingly, no. No,
for real?
No.
Who are your two favorites?
Those two are like the ones I met first, but for me, by far, John Terry. By far.
Big JT.
Big JT. That the JT connection, like JT is, I'd say, my friend, right? Drogba, Lampard, like I had breakfast with Lampard when we worked on the Bobby. I did a Bobby Tamling documentary as well.
No. We're gonna go to that. I'm just asking you about this. You're gonna tell us about that.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But the JT thing, the thing with JT is, JT and I became friends in 2021. That's when the friendship started during the Club World Cup scene and a lot of other things in terms of like the art scene, and he wanted to know a bit about crypto and all. But just as like the overall friendship, the connection started back then with JT. However, with like Lampard, Drogba and all, it was, I'd say, pretty much like prior to that, like, it was just like as fans. And you know what, Jawan? I was actually wrong. I'm so sorry. Before Lampard, Drogba, I met the entire team when they came to Canada in 2015, and I love Hazard. Bro, how did I not mention this? Hazard literally kickstarted my career, because in 2012, when we signed Hazard, and against all odds happened, he did a video shout out for me right when he signed. So before every video, like, there's like a saying, right? Like a lot of like Chelsea fans used to troll me. They used to go like Feroze 17, because that's how Hazard like before
Yeah.
every intro.
Yeah, how he spoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the thing, and he had like a towel on his head, and he
Mm,
recorded it.
mm,
And yeah, like that at that time, video shoutouts were the thing, and a
mm.
lot of so that's why I credit myself, and I give like big ups to myself for certain things. Like these things weren't a thing, and then even me when I met the entire Chelsea team in 2014, no one knows this. I vlogged the entire thing. I vlogged the entire conversation, posted on YouTube. It got 100K views, but guess what? It got so much hate that I removed it. My biggest regret is not making it private. I deleted it altogether. Yeah,
Bro, you should have made, bro.
I know, I
People like
know.
me would have loved
Bro,
to see that video.
there was a whole conversation of me and Hazard and stuff. I
Mm.
recorded everything. That was beautiful. But Hazard, like, was a nice guy as well. So yeah, like all these people are nice. But in terms of like who I love the most, by far JT, because that story of me meeting JT in 2021 when we won the Club World Cup, but we can get to that. We can talk about it now or later. But that
Bro,
story,
perfect segue. We'll get back into the official content
yes,
creation stuff now. I'm
yes,
enjoying this.
yes, same, bro, same. I love this, bro. I love this. Oh man. But
So the JT story, go ahead. You have the
right,
floor.
so the JT story, I'd say what ended up happening is on social media, him and I used to just like, I'd say like he wanted to know about something called, this is very controversial, something called NFTs, right?
Mm.
He wanted
Oh
to know
yeah.
about
Oh,
that.
was this when NFTs just started to become a
Yes,
thing?
yes, yes. And me,
Okay.
I got in that scene in like very early on just because I am doing animations, that's art. And then in terms of like crypto, I understand crypto, so it just made sense for me to like get into it. So I got into it. So JT posted on Instagram and on Twitter, who wants to know about NFTs and all, right? Like, no, sorry, my mistake. He said, who knows about NFTs? Can people teach me, right? So I reached out a few times, and a lot of Chelsea fans were like, "Oh, if you want to know, ask Feroze. He is someone in the Chelsea space who's doing this. You should ask him, right?" So then him and I tried reaching out to him, nothing, and then out of nowhere, he did like an eyes emoji and tweeted me. I was like, okay, bro, what's going on here, right? Like two days later, he follows me. I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, what? So then I DM him. I'm like, yo, like, big fan. I can teach you whenever you want. Everything is good. A day goes by, 5 days go by, a month goes by. I was like, oh shit. Okay. I was like, okay, Jamal.
That's
Okay.
it. That's
It
it.
is
It's time to
what
give
it
up.
is.
It
It
is
is
what it
what it
is.
is. You know what? Like
At
I
least he
get it.
followed me, right?
Yeah, at least he followed me. But right before like going to the Club World Cup, I think around like because the Club World Cup got pushed to February, right? Thankfully.
Yeah, I remember.
And it got pushed to Abu Dhabi because it was happening in Japan.
Yeah.
We won the Champions League, a lot of things happen, blah blah blah. This JT thing happens, and then I break up with my ex, right? I had a bad breakup, and I carry my heart on my sleeve, so I tweet everything. I'm like, oh, going through a tough time, like I'm just gonna take a break from social media. I love you all, blah blah blah. Bro, out of nowhere, nothing to do with NFTs. JT like contacts me, right? And we speak for a while, and nothing about Chelsea, nothing about football, just about life, right? I was like,
This man is living the dream.
I was like, hold on. So
Defender in real life, a defender of hearts. Big up, JT.
No, bro. So I was like, okay, so not only like this guy was one of the best players of all time, in my opinion, but for him to reach out for a personal thing like that, that's something I will never forget for the rest of my life. I'll never forget it, right? Because I was going through a tough time. And him to do stuff like to have this conversation that not even my close friends were having with me, right? I was like, wow, like hats off to you. And then him and I just connected on that level, right? And then of course, like he starts working with the youth team and all, right? And slowly I'm like, should I go to Abu Dhabi? I don't know. Should I not? COVID was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go. And then right at the end, I found out JT is going, and then I'm like, you know what? JT's going Club World Cup. When are we gonna win the Club World Cup next? You know what? Let me just go.
Yeah, when are we gonna even participate next? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I fly down there, right? I see, I coincidentally, by the way, people think this was not like true, but coincidentally, I end up staying at the same hotel as the team, right? The Chelsea team, right? That was random. I saw Reese there, and then I saw like Money Mace there. So,
Oh boy.
unfortunately, Tuchel got COVID, so he couldn't travel with the team for the first game. And then while this was happening, a lot of other staff, they went to another hotel altogether, right? So then I messaged JT. I'm like, yo, let's meet up, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, bro, if we have time, you and I will see each other. Like, let's just plan it. I'm like, cool. My guy, I kid you not, the second last day, I'm just walking on the beach, right? Like near the pool. I'm just walking. I see JT, like, just lying down, just soaking the sun in. I'm like, I'm not going to disturb him, bro. That's not me, right?
Yeah.
I just, like, slowly, like, walk away. And then I turn around. I'm just, like, chilling for, like, 2-3 minutes, just enjoying, like, Dubai sun as well. Bro, someone is walking out to me, right? I'm like, okay, yo, what's going on here? He's like, Feroze, my guy! And then he dashed me up. I was like, shit, no. No. Jawan, listen to this. Because this, I remember vividly, right? I'm like, how's it going? Like, what's going on? We just catch up for like a few minutes, talk about the Club World Cup and stuff. And so then there's someone else that both of us know, Olivia. I don't know if you're familiar with Olivia. Yeah. So she was there as well. And then, like, we all take photos, right? And then after I take the photos, I tell JT, yo, let's record a video, because people think that you are not you on social media. They think like you're some manager. They're like, oh yeah, let's record it. So we recorded the video, and then he's like, Feroze, is it okay if I post this picture on Twitter?
What kind of question is that? What kind of question is that?
Man, he's asking me, bro. He's asking me. I was like, once again, the inner me is like, the outer me is like,
sure.
Yeah, go for it. So then
he don't know what a fan is like, bro. He don't know.
So then, like, I had like a few of my friends there as well. I'm like, yo, I hate to be that guy. Can you just do me a solid, like, just converse and like sign their things? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's go, let's do it. So then he does that. He goes out of the way, like, to like make my friends to like feel welcome, talk to them about life and all. And then after like 10 minutes, he's like, all right, like, like, it was good meeting you. Take care. We'd love to have, like, Tony and I would love to have you, for like dinner and stuff sometime. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So then, we just dap it up, and then that was it. But when I get in the car, I'm like, I look at my phone. I have the video of me and JT, right? I'm like, wait, where are the pictures? Jawan. It was on his phone. He took the photos. But Jawan, 30 seconds later, boom, he tweets it. So I was like, cool. But there were a few people that got pissed off at me that I didn't take them to meet JT. But but Jawan, I was gonna post the video and photos like a week after I get back, so I avoid that confrontation with some. But when he posted it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So that tweet is still up there, and oh my god, I like the fact that like he posted me. It's insane, bro. And
you mean something to him. It's not just a pass-by conversation.
And I'm seeing him next month again in Dubai. So
that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Nah, so he's a real one. So every time I have like a favor to ask him for like a birthday wish, anything, he'll just immediately do it. No questions asked.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
While we could sit here all day and go through all the list of players, let's go back to you and the content creation. So you mentioned a documentary.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, so I'd say around 2018, someone reached out to me in terms of like Bobby Tamling, right? Because a lot of old legends don't get appreciated, right? They just don't.
That is so true.
Yes, which is why
is one of them.
Yes, of course. Which is why when Lampard, like, broke the goal scoring record, people were like, wow, he broke the goal scoring record, but from who, right? And then like Bobby Tamling, come on, like we cannot forget him, and he was like he's still an icon for me, which is why,
of course,
like this company reached out to me. They're like, hey, would you help us produce this documentary? We want your brains and stuff. And then I did the animation for that Lampard goal against Bayern Munich, which is why we asked this to Lampard when I went to England. We asked this to Lampard. We're like, hey, was that goal a fluke against Bayern? He's like, come on, bro. But yeah, like I helped with that, and I was a producer. It wasn't like an official documentary. It was just like for Bobby Tamling. Like all the funds went to him. because unfortunately, a lot of these former footballers, they don't take care of themselves in terms of like financially, or they aren't looked after, right? Which is what we try
Yeah,
to do.
and
And
especially someone from his time where the money wasn't as what it is now.
exactly,
So it's kind.
exactly.
It would have been more difficult
Of
to be,
course,
to have the money to this day.
of course. No, but like I feel like that 100% for sure was one of the best things in terms of like just being a part of it. I like we took a photo with like all the legends, like Bobby Tomlin, Lampard, myself, and all. Like it was iconic, bro. And like just being like in that, bro. Like so, this is a funny thing. When I met up with Lampard in 2000 and was it 15 when he played
Mm.
for New York City FC, 2015, 2016, around then.
NYCFC, yep.
Yeah. So I met up with Lampard, like, as like a fan or whatever, like just took a video, like a photo, video, whatever. But then in 2018, when I went for Chelsea Barcelona, which is when I produced this documentary, we all were in the meeting room at Chelsea Harbour Hotel, which is where the players stay, which is where the meeting happens. So we all were in the meeting room, like me and all these legends. Lampard walks in. While Lampard walks in, as the producer and like other directors and producers in that room, I'm showing them like the animations that I make, right? So while the animations are playing, Lampard enters. He's like, "Oh yeah, I love these animations." I'm like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay, so this guy knows." And I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and stuff. Um, and then like he was like, "Oh, like I want some coffee as well," because we were having breakfast, right? Like at the meeting room. Bro, me pouring coffee like this. Just bro, I'm like I'm pouring coffee to Frank Lampard, bro.
That's
uh,
super frank right there.
Yes, yes, but it was a really cool experience. Just creating that because obviously it was for a good cause,
Mm,
and it was like sort of official as well. A lot of things were shot inside Stamford Bridge, and it's a beautiful documentary. Like in
mhm,
terms of like the production, in all honesty, it's the quality isn't the greatest because the budget wasn't the most, obviously,
mhm.
but we did whatever we could, and it was a really nice thing to do for Bobby
That's good, bro.
for
That's good.
sure.
That's
Yes.
good. What's it like? What's it like knowing as a Chelsea fan that you've lived the dream of some of us getting to talk to these players on a
Yeah.
personal level and just having some form of connection with them? Because we can only 90%, if not 99.9%
Yeah.
of these people only have a connection to what they see through the screens,
Yep.
on the pitch, in the stadium, and nothing else. You can only
Of
dream to
course.
come this close to players. What's it like knowing that I am that guy? And
Oh,
not even, and you're not even bragging about
yeah,
being
no,
that guy.
it's a great. That's why, like, when I do give flowers to myself for certain things, I go like, you know what, I should definitely pat myself on the back, but at the same time, right, like, it's just something that I feel like I appreciate a lot. It's a surreal feeling, which is why I still to this day have imposter syndrome in terms of like while I'm in mid conversation with one of these icons, legends, or anyone, right? I go like, oh my god, what is going on here? To back to like being the professional, like, oh yeah, of course, everything is cool. This is where this was meant to happen. It was meant to be written in the stars, right?
Mhm,
And I just appreciate everything. I'm super grateful. And of course, even though I am like quote unquote, I would say like an armchair fan, like being abroad and stuff.
mhm,
I there's a reason why in terms of like the Chelsea content creation space, I am probably the only one who is super liked by the OGs, the old school,
mhm,
and also the new wave. Because a
mhm,
lot of people hate on like vlogs, like a lot of like the old school fans that go to the stadium,
mhm,
and the new school, like a lot of like content creators, they don't like those. But like I'm like sort of a connector between both worlds,
mhm,
right? It's rare. Maybe like the couple people who don't like me in terms of like the OGs, but otherwise, like in terms of like those guys watching the games and stuff, like proper hardcore fans,
mhm,
because of the connections I've made and because of all the mutuals and everything and how they watch against Allahs and other videos, they sort of appreciate everything that I do. So I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed. Um, just to be in this position, and I never take anything for granted, bro, because people do, man. And you know what, like the newcomers and stuff, I give flowers to everyone, and and rightfully so, bro, because you gotta sort of like stick with the time, right?
mhm,
And which is why when they get success and like go on big platforms and stuff, I wish them nothing but the best.
mhm,
But I go like, hey, what I did back then was much harder, bro, because it
Mm.
was I had to break a barrier,
Because
right?
you have to understand, you're creating a space essentially.
Yes,
Like each correct decision led on to the next man being able to do this because you put it on a platform where this is a thing and you
yeah,
can run with this thing. It's a thing now.
of
You
course,
understand?
of course.
I asked that question because if you don't remember, on a couple playback streams ago, I someone posed that question. I'm like, do you know who Feroze is? And
Yeah,
Benji and I had to kind of like, give you some chess because I don't
yeah,
know why,
yeah.
bro. I don't know why, but you just refuse to have chess and something. I'm like, bro,
No,
if you're not gonna say it, Benji and I will say it.
no, that means a
Yeah.
lot, bro. But I feel like that was a challenging thing in terms of like the face thing, right? Because
Mhm,
like just the other day, right? Like, because I went for the Canada game, right? And
mhm,
obviously, like, it's not just Chelsea fans and supporters and people who watch my videos. There were other fans too, right?
mhm,
So when I went for the Canada game, I saw like Fonzie and all these guys, right? And when I was there was this one Canada fan that just like took photos with all the Canadian players, everything, right? And like he's just like seeing me, didn't say a word. The second I take my hoodie off,
mhm,
and the second he sees my name, he's like,
mhm,
"Oh my god, like Feroze so good to me. Can I get?" And that's still like more people, like a lot more people recognize me just because of like the name. But
mhm,
by face, it's a lot better now because now for the last like 5 years, I've been out there everywhere, right? Like people are posting me left, right, and center. But before, in terms of like that transition,
mhm,
like because as I said, like the content creators these days, right? Like for instance, you, and then of course Matisse, and then Eunice has been doing it for God knows how long. Alex, all these guys, this is their thing, right? Their face is their main thing. My thing was like I had to do video editing, and then obviously became a professional FIFA
animations.
player, professional FIFA player as well, animator, then the whole agency thing, now streamer. So I'm trying to juggle
Mm.
everything, bro. Which is why when people go like explain yourself, I'm like it's tough or what projects. There's so many projects that I forget about, bro. Like I met someone the other day. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you from your vlog when you met the team." I'm like, "Oh my god, like that's how you know me?" And then
Out
this
of
one guy,
everything I do.
yeah. So that's why it's interesting. That's why I love to ask people and go like, how do you actually like know about me? Like through what avenue? Because there's so many like I've been blessed with, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. I want a revenge. I want a rematch on that FIFA game. That
100%, bro. Always,
FIFA.
always.
But it's coming out. Might need a part two. We'll see. When it comes on to the FIFA Pro, can you just give us a quick rundown on how that happened and how far you got with that,
Oh
and
god.
how did that start?
Oh god. Okay, so here's the thing. Just like back in the day, I was just really, really, really good at FIFA. Like I'd say, I mean, in 2010, I was the best player in Canada for FIFA. Now people know this. I was number one, ranked number one in Canada. The entire Canada, I was number one. However, back then, online tournaments weren't a thing. The FIFA like World Cup wasn't a thing. So after that, in my friends group, I was just like the best and never like gave it like a proper real shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in FIFA 18, I got into like
17,
the
18?
FIFA 18. I got into the LA Galaxy tournament.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I remember.
I got into the LA Galaxy tournament. I did really well there. And then after that, a couple of years later, a Canadian team reached out to me. Back then, they were called York FC or York United or something. The name changed now. And this is the biggest problem, Javon. So this is where I got screwed over. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So they either partner a player, like a footballer, with a FIFA gamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone in that tournament is a player and a FIFA gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I went as a content creator. I was not a professional because, bro, if I play against a professional FIFA player right now, I would get destroyed. Even though I am the best in my current group of friends or whatever, I'm still a great player. But going in, being the guy that is going in as a content creator, that should have been clear from the get go. A lot of these clowns that were watching the stream that were part of the team, I'm saying that were part of the team that I was part of,
Mm-hmm.
thought I was at the same level as these ranked number one in the entire world and all this shit, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when we were on stream, my footballer partner, made the lead 3-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he like then it's a relay. So one game they play, one game you play. So I have a 3-goal advantage. I'm going against Goal Machine, who was ranked currently number one in the world, right? bro, no shit, I'm gonna lose.
Lose.
So no shit. So I lost 3-0 or whatever, and then it went to penalties or whatever. Bro, the amount of hate I got from like the fans, they were like, "Oh, this guy's garbage. This guy's trash." In fact, one player, a current player that plays for the club, messaged me. He's like, "Bro, you're a trash FIFA player." I'm like, "My guy, I'm not. It's like me. It's like you getting the control and becoming. I just did this as a content creator thing."
Mhm.
So yeah, in terms of being a proper official FIFA player, I'd say like 2010, 2011, I was that guy. Now I'm good. That's my level.
Mhm.
And being a full time competitive FIFA player is not a fun thing. You need to be a robot. It's not fun. It's not actual football. It's just like glitches, mechanics, and all. You know
You have
what I
to.
mean, bro?
Yeah, you have to understand how the game operates
Yeah.
to be able to play. Like it's not the greatest FIFA of all time, which
Oh,
is
it's
FIFA
horrible. Too
14.
many glitches, bro. I can score from like 40 yards from like a finesse 40 yards. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, bro.
bro. Oh.
It did me dirty with that.
No. I'm saying like in terms of how bad the game is. The
Yeah.
mechanics are horrible.
Mm.
Horrible.
Horrible, bro. Horrible. That's so true. That's sad.
Yeah.
For me, the best FIFA will always be FIFA 14. Long
Yes.
pass, long shots.
Yes.
It was the music
Yes.
top tier.
Let me find something. Give me 1 second.
Sure, no problem.
Let me find if I have this.
I think he got a surprise for us too.
No, because I was just talking about this. The tournament that I went to, bro. Look at me. Look how serious I was, bro.
FIFA 18.
Oh, God.
Yeah, most definitely, bro. That's good, bro. That's funny. That's funny.
Dude, they just posed like actual players. It was the funniest
Yeah,
thing.
right, ready?
Yeah, bro. I had like a photo shoot. It was crazy. It was actually insane. So that it's cool how it's become mainstream in terms of that, but at the same
it's
time,
cool. No, yeah.
a lot of the problem, Jawan, is a lot of people are good at everything now. Whether it's content creation, FIFA, but you know what? More competition. You got to be more unique, right? You got to be more.
But
unique.
they say iron sharpens iron. So if you want to be good, you just gotta be good. Essentially.
Of course.
All right. What's going on with the playback streams? I would be remiss if I didn't come on here and ask.
Ooh,
no. People wanna know.
Oh man, so playback. Here's the thing. Obviously, for the past, I'd say like year, I was working on my whole agent license. Still, in pursuing that. Everything is good on that end, and then of course, playback reached out to me. I personally never ever considered streaming in terms of like on YouTube and stuff because I have a channel there. I mean, that's sort of like I'd say like plateaued. But I could have easily started streaming there and like building everything up from like the get go. I was never into streaming. Thankfully, Playback reached out to me, gave a great offer, and then of course, what ended up happening was I started the channel. Everything is perfect, and then Miz and I'm like, you know what, Miz would be the perfect guy. Let's partner up. Unfortunately, the biggest hurdle for the partnership was that the watch-alongs, because we have the rights to do Chelsea games and watch-alongs for a lot of things. Miz has always been doing watch-alongs on YouTube. So doing both was pretty much impossible, which is why, of course, now Miz is doing his own thing, which I love. Huge shout out to Miz. But playback, I'm just going to continue doing it. Of course, you know, like these live streams and stuff and being able to watch actual footage while talking, those streams are the best. Of course,
our streams are legendary, bro.
But of course, I get it at times. At times when you're not in the same sync and stuff, that's frustrating. People are spoiling it, and I just regret one thing in terms of like, well, I don't regret it because we had a lot of viewers, and then I had to take a month and a half break because I was moving, and then preseason, and then of course Miz went on vacation. Like a lot of things happened, which is why like the channel slowly, in terms of viewership, went down. But I love that because the community now, the 20, 30 people that are watching are much more like in depth, much more close, much more like the connection. That's something I missed from like I'd say like 10 years ago when I used to tweet and barely anyone like replied to me and stuff, or like those intimate connections. I missed that, bro. So in terms of like streaming, I initially got into playback because of like the offer, but I just love it, bro. Just being able to just even the conversation you and I are having right now, which is why being on camera, I love it, bro. So it's a no-brainer. Playback, great community. They're going through some struggles right now. However, I'm sure like it's gonna be a big platform, and we have big plans for it.
Yeah, playback. I didn't believe they're gonna pull through. Um, I appreciate the playbacks you do have because we've had some legendary conversations on there.
Of course.
We've had some
Sometimes it gets sus, but we
Benji,
gotta eventually.
Benji, you know. Yeah, but no, some of the conversations we've had on there is legendary, and I would love to take some of that conversation to the YouTube channel for the people that don't
Of course.
necessarily go and play back. Feroze, what can we expect from you going forward? You mentioned
Oh,
your agent license. You looking to become an agent?
oh, yes, yes, yes. Of course. Right now, those are the plans. Still gonna pursue this whole agency thing and see how this goes. Whether I'm gonna start my own agency or be a part of someone else, because a few people have already reached out to me. Not a lot of people know this. Uh, Currently, I can still sign anyone I want anytime. I don't need to have an official license. That is a formality. If you're part of an agency, you don't need to have a license. But if I have my own license, right, like an official FIFA license, because I'm on the website, then you can sign players automatically. But there's too many loopholes for that. So I'm excited for that in terms of like getting some maybe academy players and taking them, like giving them good opportunities and stuff. Or it doesn't even have to be like academy players. It can be anyone, like maybe someone that's past it wants a new opportunity. Because Jawan, I've been lucky enough to be connected with a lot of agents, but not just agents, a lot of people in the world, like media world, football world,
Yeah.
which is what helps with this whole thing. Like even the scouts and stuff that got the best talents, like for instance, the person who got, as Benji would say, Estevo, right to the club. That guy and I are connected, right? Obviously, like that's like another extreme, but I'm just saying in terms of like the overall connection, I'm blessed with that. So definitely going to pursue this as a hobby and something for the future. Streaming thing, enjoying that for sure. But it's just one of those things where I'm going to juggle a bunch of things, bro. That's what's going to happen. And at times, I just reach out to, sometimes, like 2-3 months ago, I reached out to a very small company, with all due respect. I'm like, can I just edit this for you? Because they had this editing gig. Bro, it was barely anything. Money was barely anything. I was like, no, I just want to do it because I miss editing as an editor.
Yeah.
So randomly, I might just do things like that, and you guys will see like hidden Easter eggs on certain projects. Like, oh shit, like wait, bro said that, what? And he didn't talk about it. So there are gonna be things I'm gonna be doing on the side that I don't even promote. Just I'm doing it for the love of creativity, and that's something.
I'm gonna be a part of your promotion team. You're sleeping on yourself, bro.
100%. No, but I feel like that's something every content creator should always go back. The fame, everything is good, but going back to the roots of just 10, 15 years ago, whatever, going like, hey, you're going to have the power to actually like edit this for this. It's just the most beautiful thing, which is why I never take anything for granted, which is why you always have to go back, bro. Always have to go back to your roots.
Always.
No matter what.
Always.
No, forget the fame, money, all that, always. And then, again, go back to reality, right? So it's just like a bit of that. Next month, big thing, King's Cup in Dubai. JT, Paul Scholes, Paul Pogba's return. Yes.
Pogba.
David Silva, David Villa, all these guys. So they're going to be playing. I'm going to be part of the content creation, the training, and maybe, knock on wood, maybe more, maybe, who knows, maybe get minutes. I don't know. That will be like the dream. That will be the dream. That will be the dream. But if not, still going back to Dubai where I was born and just experiencing the King's Cup will be beautiful. But yeah, like there's a lot of projects like here there when it comes to video creation, maybe animating. But then again, Joanne, it's tricky with whole AI situation regarding editing and animation, right? Because AI is taking over, bro, and which is why
it's a big thing now.
As creators have to always evolve. Always.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to stay ahead of the curve at all points.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Feroze, it's about that time because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yes.
Might need a part 2, especially after that King's Cup. You're gonna come and tell us some stories.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining us on the Feroze podcast. This is Feroze 17, my boy, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. Oh, before you go, give me a scoreline. I don't know if I'm gonna drop this tomorrow. Do you think we beat Liverpool?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask for a scoreline because I don't know if I'm gonna drop this tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. Yes.
Do you think we beat Newcastle?
Yes.
United.
Yes.
We have to end that streak.
Yes. Arsenal.
Honest opinion. That's a tricky one.
Quick question. Saliba, is he gonna miss that game?
The red that he was given was for denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. I don't know if that's a 3-game ban because I know
Yeah.
3-game bans are for dissent.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Are we home or away?
We are at home.
Oh yeah, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
So you see, you hear
We're
people
gonna win
from
all
Feroze
games. We're
themselves.
gonna win all games.
Always, always.
The
All right.
only thing I was hesitant about was Newcastle because they're an
Yeah.
iffy team. But
Sometimes they're really good and sometimes they're really bad. Yeah.
yes.
But thank you for joining us, guys. Peace.
Take care.